Bitcoin miners are organic creatures with a negative feedback loop. I mean, in essence, a market mechanism. Bitcoin miner that just buys a bunch of equipment 5 years ago and stops upgrading becomes obsolete. It's rotated through a set of generations of hashing equipment. So now you need energy, but the limiting factor is not really the energy. The limiting factor on generating hashes is the mining rigs. And maybe you could say the limiting factors on doing this well is the mining rigs properly installed in a mining center with the right cooling technology. Another decade, you'll see it's going to be much more technical intensive, and you could have all the energy in the world, but you're not going to be able to generate crypto hashes. The break-even point of an S19 is like 40 cents a kilowatt hour. You could pay 40 cents a kilowatt hour for electricity and make money. The break-even point for an S9 is 8 or 9 cents a kilowatt hour. If you have 20-cent power, you can't make money. You got to turn it off. The break-even point for the generation of equipment before that is like 2 cents a kilowatt hour. You can't pay 3. You got to turn it off. And the generation before that, you're down to half a penny a kilowatt hour. So if you're looking to run antiquated equipment to generate hashes, you have to be stealing the power. If you have free energy and it's literally stolen or it's given away, you can run 8-year-old or 5-year-old equipment. But if you're paying your way, you have to run modern equipment. So this is a dynamic model, but it's important because it's a dynamic evolution of the sophistication of the Bitcoin security network that has Darwinian overtones. Because the Bitcoin miner that just buys a bunch of equipment 5 years ago and stops upgrading becomes obsolete. You know, you won't last 10 years without equipment. I mean, your break-even point becomes a tenth of a penny once you're 3 or 4 generations behind. So this is like nature healing itself. It's a very natural process. If you're out of touch and you're 1,000 miles away, the free market somewhere else is going to keep moving the state-of-the-art forward. And should you isolate yourself, you will find that you can't generate enough hash power to participate in the revenues and the transaction fees. And it's the network's way of simply squeezing you off the network. Now, what that means is Bitcoin miners are organic creatures with a negative feedback loop. I mean, in essence, a market mechanism. The difficulty adjustment is not just tactically every 2 weeks in the protocol. The difficulty adjustment is in the market, because if you don't upgrade your hardware every 4 years, you become uncompetitive. And you can't upgrade your hardware every 4 years unless you are a responsible custodian of your capital. If you spend all your money, if you didn't save any money, if you're not trustworthy, if you don't have credit, you can't buy any equipment. And so to stay competitive on the Bitcoin network, you have to be creditworthy, you have to be competent, and you have to be credible. Someone that has the technology has to be willing to sell to you. And so I would say that the dynamic nature of the network is you have this competition between miner operations and the technology providers and the energy sources and the political jurisdictions. And you have to be upgrading, and you probably need to be improving your efficiency by a factor of 1.5 or 2 every year. You know, you're subject to Moore's law and this competitive Darwinian pressure. And the result of that is energy consumption is going to fall per exahash. We'll go from 150 megawatts an exahash to 30 megawatts an exahash. to 5 megawatts in exahash, to 1 megawatt in exahash, to half a megawatt, and on down. We're just going to move down this efficiency curve. You could imagine if I gave you, this supercomputer, the size of a sugar cube. It's just look at the amount of power on modern semiconductors, right? Think about what's in the latest iPhone chip. We just keep compressing computing power, and we find a way. And human ingenuity is like that. They will keep finding a way to create more hash power using better technique.